Hello and welcome to School News. Sam, take it away.
Yes, so today we're going to make another module of this course live with you guys, but we wanted to start by giving you a quick update of how it's going. So, we're putting together this course live together. We did the first module last week. And one thing we noticed when we did this was it went a bit too long. Like as soon as we were done recording it, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That was too long. It was like 45 minutes or something. But not only was it too long, but it felt like we didn't get to cover the second part of it in enough detail.
Yep.
So it was like double bad in a way. And then looking at it on YouTube too, the engagement was pretty good until it got to that point. So that kind of confirmed it.
Yes.
So what we decided to do after we recorded the video was it really should have been 2 modules, not just one. Mm-hmm. So we naturally kind of chopped it at the end of like stages of evolution.
Yep.
Because there was a lot we covered in there. And then how to use this course, which includes like training, community support, the school games, software, and fun. We decided to put that in its own module.
Yep. So
that way the first module is not too long, 23 minutes. The second module, can cover everything here. So, there's probably a lesson in there for you guys. Sometimes you think something is one module, but you do it and it turns out to be 2 things.
Yep.
And it's important to just leave some room for like this thing to flex around and evolve as you're making it. Mm-hmm. So, this second module will be up like today sometime. And then that brings us to this one, number 3, finding your group topic. And today, that's what we're going to do live. So today we're going to cover finding your group topic, like how to find your thing. And it's really like the first stage of evolution on Skool. You need to find your thing so you can make a community around it and get your first 3 members.
Yep.
So let's dive into it. How do you do it? Well, I think the first question, and honestly the most important question, is what are you passionate about? And why passion is important is, business or making anything, you get exponentially better over time. And if you don't love it, you probably won't keep doing it. Mm-hmm. And if you don't keep doing it for a long enough period of time, you'll never really do that well. Yep. So in order to do well, you need to do it for a long period of time, which means you need to love it. Mm-hmm. So it is, I swear, the most important thing. And that's why I would just start by asking yourself, like, what are you interested in? And there's a few different ways to frame this question. You could also say, like, what would you do for free even if you didn't get paid?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. Also, what do you think about when you're going to sleep? Or what do you think about in the shower where your mind just wanders? That's an indicator of your passion.
Yeah. Yeah, like what is your distraction? Right? Because a lot of people think, oh, I need to be productive and do this thing, but I really just want to do this other thing. I've honestly found sometimes the distraction is the answer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
And then, where does your attention go in your free time? And if you're like, I don't know, well, look at your YouTube history. YouTube keeps pretty good history. Take a look.
Yep.
What kind of videos are you watching? What channels are you subscribed to and do you keep coming back to, right? Then look at your bank statements. Where your money flows to and where your attention and time flows to, yes. That's what you're interested in.
100%.
Then you could look at your calendar, like what kind of events do you attend? What things do you make time for, right? You can also ask your partner, if you've got a husband, wife, whatever, you could ask your parents and you could even ask your friends, like, hey, what is the thing that I just won't shut up about, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to get outside of yourself to be able to get a good perspective on yourself.
And sometimes it's so obvious. You're all stuck in your head. What am I passionate about? And you ask someone, they're like, oh, it's obviously this thing. You don't stop talking about it. You spend all your day about it. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm. And I think you know, this is what you need to do first. Like, find out what you're passionate about and spend some time, you know, doing this kind of discovery process. And to give you an example of this in practice, so I'll tell you a quick story about how we came up with the format for Skool News, which is, you know, the thing you're watching right now. So we wanted to make a weekly kind of show for the Skoolers community, but historically I really hated making content.
Yep.
Especially those kind of talking head videos where you just have to like talk at the camera and you've got to come up with ideas.
Yeah.
They drive me crazy. And so obviously if we use that format that I'm not passionate about, we're going to suck at doing this.
Yeah, people
right?
can feel it.
Yeah, so I guess there's more to passion than just like you doing it consistently over time. It's also, there's something magnetic and contagious about things that people have passion for. And so if it's a joy to create and you love creating it, then it's probably going to be a joy to view and like engage with, right?
Yeah.
And so if I'm in pain making it, then they're probably going to be like, whoa, this feels off.
Yes.
And also I'm not going to be consistent.
Yes. And if you think about how people consume content or consume communities, they're really consuming because they want to feel something different how they're currently feeling. And if you're feeling super drained, they don't want to feel drained. They're not watching these videos or joining a community to feel drained. They want to feel passionate and excited. And if you feel that, they'll feel that.
Yeah. And so with this example, so we kind of went through this process. I thought, well, what do I consume? And interestingly enough, I absolutely hate talking head videos.
Yep.
So like just watching some dude talk at a camera, never. So it makes sense why I hate making them, because I would never watch one either.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, well, what do I watch? And it's podcasts, specifically podcasts with more than one person. I find it very weird watching one person talking to camera.
Yep.
But when there's two people doing something that's kind of natural, I watch that. The other thing is that it has to be quite natural. It has to unfold naturally instead of like being scripted.
Yeah.
And the other thing is I really hate editing. So it has to just be like one take done.
Yes.
And then the other thing is I really hate the camera and I get all freaked out about it. So, but what I do every day is I sit and look at a computer, just like this. This is the exact computer screen I look at. And you sit next to me and we talk about Skool.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, I like looking at my computer. I like talking about Skool. Having Kirby there to talk to about Skool too. So what if we just did that? And so instead of thinking, oh, I need to make my YouTube channel like this guy's YouTube channel or whatever, that's a bad way to go about it, because if you don't like doing that, people might not like watching it and then you won't be consistent. So I hope this example is proving this point for you. If you work with the things you like and the things you don't like and you kind of navigate through them, what you end up with at the end is something that's actually unique. The Skool News is a kind of unique format. It's not just talking head like 6 lessons I learned. And, right?
Yeah.
And it's natural and it's effortless to make.
Yep.
So, with your community, you should think about this too, because you want to be unique, you want to be consistent, you want to do it for the long term, and you want people to enjoy it. And this is the way to do that, by working with the things you like and don't like.
So you can kind of create based on what you consume.
What you consume is a great indicator of what you'll probably like to create, right?
Yes.
Because you naturally understand the format.
Yep. That's good.
Yeah. Then scratching your own itch. So, some of the best companies in the world were just started by people that scratched their own itch. They thought, oh, I hate this thing. I hate this thing so much that I'm going to like just build a tool or build this thing to solve it for myself,
Yep.
then it turns out a lot of other people have that itch too, right?
Yeah, you can use yourself as a proxy for the niche. Like if you really want something, there's gonna be other people out there that want that thing as well. That's also kind of how Skool started, right? You said that you were running a community business and there was loads of different tools and it was stressful. So you solved your own problem, and then that was really valuable for other people as well.
Yeah, so I actually built my own software first, but it wasn't for anyone else to use. And everyone wanted to use it. So I kind of had an early sign that, people are interested in this thing if I make it. Yeah, but it started as me just scratching my own itch.
Interesting.
So yeah, build the community you wish existed. If you're using, like let's say you're into motocross and you're in a few different motocross communities, but none of them cover like, I don't know, technical details about how to do tricks, or none of them have meetups.
Yes.
Right? Like, or none of them are in Australia.
Yes.
So like maybe you're in these different communities, like around motocross, but there's this thing that isn't satisfied. There's an itch there.
Yeah.
Other people are probably feeling that too, and so you could do that.
Yep.
Like Calvin's basically got the schoolers community in Germany,
Yes.
right? There's a lot of these. And then, like I said earlier, the passion of the founder is the most important thing because it's magnetic and contagious. People, I think more than anything, want to be happy and have fun and feel good. And so when they see someone else that feels like that, it's like, I want some of that, right?
100%.
So they're just like, I'll get a bit closer to that and I'll stick around because I like it how it's kind of washing onto me.
Yep.
And so protecting this is super important.
Yeah, and you can't fake it. You can fake it for a certain period of time, but then eventually it's very clear whether you love something or you don't.
And I see this so much with young entrepreneurs. They've got this thing they love, and then they're like, no, I can't do that. I've got to do this other thing. And they're so militant about it, and they hate the other thing. And I'm like, well, yeah, logically that all makes sense, but you're going to quit that. You're not even going to last a year.
Yeah.
And it's not about finding a hot niche. It's about finding something you love.
Yes.
And, this is kind of this constant fight between like your logic and your emotions. Logic might tell you, no, I need to build a community on AI or something like that because that's a big market. Yeah, but, it's also very competitive and there's a lot of people that love AI. And if you don't love it and you're trying to compete with them, then you're not going to do that well.
Yep.
So here's some examples to kind of prove that you can make a lot of money doing like, almost anything. I think a great example is Poop Scoop Millionaire. These guys have a community called Poop Scoop Millionaire, and they teach you how to start a poop scooping business, right? And these guys make $60,000 a month.
Let's go.
In the poop scooping niche, right?
That's definitely not a hot niche.
That's what I mean. So, and how many people are passionate about scooping poop? Not many. So, it's very unique. It catches everyone's attention. And these guys are passionate about it to the point that they're willing to host meetups, conferences, all of this. And they make a lot of money doing it.
Yep.
Here's another example, Counter-Strike Improvement. CS2 Improvement Camp. So, this guy teaches you how to play Counter-Strike better.
Yep.
Right? The game Counter-Strike. And he makes 11 grand a month just teaching you how to play better Counter-Strike.
Yeah. And Counter-Strike used to be popular. If I'm not mistaken, it's less popular now. But he's
still pretty popular.
Yeah. But maybe less than it used to. And either way, he's still killing it.
Yeah.
I think when something's hot, often everyone jumps on it. And when everyone jumps on it, it's harder to compete unless you're super passionate. So that's why doing something when it's not hot can sometimes be even better because there's less competition.
Yeah, and also I swear when you just follow trends, so does like almost everyone else.
Yeah.
And when someone observes that you just drift from this thing to this thing to this thing to this thing to this thing,
yes,
you lose all of their trust.
100%.
They're like,
it's fake.
That person did like, I don't know, some of the big trends I've seen is NFTs, then crypto, now AI.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with any of those things if
Yep.
you stayed true to it the whole time.
Yes.
If you were always doing NFTs, then you'd probably still be crushing it.
Yep.
Always doing crypto, always doing AI. But when you drift around everywhere,
Yeah.
that's when you lose a lot of your credibility.
Yep.
And here's another example, 90s boom bap beat making. I love this group. It's called Bastard Crew. And it just teaches you how to make real 90s boom bap beats.
That's crazy. I don't even know what that is. That's niche.
Yeah. No fluff, no corny industry tips, just the real fucking sauce. I love this group.
What a hook.
And look at like the video.
Yes, I love when you can feel it.
Like, look at this. This is so authentic.
Yes. You can't fake that.
This guy's just making beats.
Let's go. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And it's like genuine. Like if you check out his profile, he's very active. If you check out his YouTube, he again makes videos about making beats, right?
So to go back to that big picture diagram, YouTube to Skool.
Yeah.
Money.
And to make a YouTube channel about something, to make an Instagram channel about something, to make a community about something and do it consistently over time. Imagine if you didn't like 90s boom bap beats. You're going to hate your whole life.
Yeah.
Or imagine if you didn't like scooping poo.
Yep.
And some people might think their video game is their distraction. But this guy's making 11 grand a month doing this.
Yeah, that's good.
So, and you know, there's so many of these examples. We've even seen calligraphy. Like, we've even seen horror film fans. They're fans of horror.
Yep.
We've seen like so many different things where people make serious incomes. And the most important thing is you've just got to be passionate about it. And if you learn to follow what you like and what you don't like, you will have natural differentiation, which I swear is the most important ingredient in business, is just differentiation. Not looking like everyone else, not feeling like everyone else. And the way to do that is by following what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah, that is interesting because you are unique. So what you like is different.
Yeah. Now let's look at how to get ideas. So if you just look at Skool Discovery, and you can do that by going to skool.com and then navigating here to Discover Communities. You can just look at Skool Discovery. You can scroll through different communities and see what they're doing, see what they're saying on their About page, see what they're charging, whatever. You can even flick through different categories like hobbies, music, money, tech, right? And this might start to give you some ideas. Another thing you can do is you can look at the Skool Games leaderboards. So if you go to the Skoolers community and you click on games, here you can see, you know, all the different ranking groups in different communities.
Yep.
In different categories, sorry. And it, you know, one thing I always notice is there's dog training. Dog training and languages always seem to be popular. Video games is always popular. Yeah. Musical instruments. I mean, you'll start to just get ideas when you look at the Discovery and the Skool Games leaderboards.
Yep.
And so look at these things and then look at what you're interested in from up here. And you might start to come up with some ideas and just start writing them down in a Google Doc or on a piece of paper.
Yep.
Another thing I've heard people mention quite a bit is this Ikigai. I don't even know how to say it.
Ikigai.
Ikigai?
It's a Japanese concept on how to find what you love. Because the Japanese, I believe they have one of the longest lifespans. And there's this book written where they tried to figure out why they live so long. And a large part of the answer was they put an emphasis on following their Ikigai, which is what you'll explain.
I think Japanese culture is very good at finding their thing because they're like craftsmen of every different thing. Like whether it's making sushi, making knives, making, you know, video games or whatever.
Yep.
like they treat it as their purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's so much bias about, oh, everyone should do this or everyone should do that. It's more naturally distributed between all the different things you could be interested in, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. And so basically what this is what you're good at, you can have in this circle, what the world needs, what you love, and what you can be paid for. And so you could try this diagram out, like maybe write down things you might get paid for, write down things you're good at, write down what the world needs, and then write down the things you love. And maybe there's some interesting, like, I don't know, overlap of these things.
Yeah.
If this, theory doesn't always translate to practice. So I wouldn't worry too much about trying to get this thing to overlap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess if it was perfect, what's in the middle here would be your Skool community.
Yep.
But this is just another thing that might give you ideas. You don't have to follow it exactly.
Yeah, it's a tool.
Yeah. And now just a couple of examples. So Kirby, why don't you tell us about your little story here, just real quick?
My little story is I built a YouTube channel and I was an educational creator and that was all I did full time. And the whole time it was me on my own trying to figure out how I could grow this channel, what I should make videos about. And it sucked and it was lonely and there was no community about it out there. But I saw there was another community called Indie Hackers, which is a community for people who are trying to go full time using code. They're trying to build little softwares and go full time with that. And that gave me the idea, why don't I start a community for educational creators who are trying to go full time, not through code, but through educational content. And that was the idea that birthed my community. It was something I wanted and it was like something else that I saw, but there was a gap that nobody had created. And it ended up being something that people loved.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you could say it's like this, but has this thing that's different.
Yeah.
It's like Schoolers, but for people that speak German.
Yeah.
And then Hazel has a successful community. We shared it in the first module.
Crochet, right?
Yeah. And so I DM'd her and I said, hey, did a Skool community inspire you to make your community? Her community is called Crochet Creations. And she said, yeah, I was inspired by this community called Naughty Hub, right? And what does this community do? So it teaches
Pattern
you
designer.
Yeah, something about yarn. Yeah. So I don't even know what this is, but it's something, crochet lovers and yarn enthusiasts. So, she saw there was a community on here and then she thought, well, I also like crochet and I could do my twist on it.
Yep.
And that inspired her to make her community. Another example is Nate Belmar. He loves anime, but he also loves fitness and like biohacking. And he made anime shreds.
Yeah, this crushes.
And sometimes in a crowded category like fitness or biohacking,
Yep.
you need some differentiation, right? He just likes anime.
Yeah.
So they literally have things in here that are about like the design and the aesthetic and even the way everything's like taught to you is in this frame of like anime.
Yeah. He has these like PDF scrolls. It's not just like a fitness plan. It's like these ancient scrolls where you learn the fitness program in that method. It's so unique.
Yeah. And so just combining passion for anime and fitness and biohacking creates this unique thing.
Yep.
And I forget how much he makes, but he makes quite a lot.
Yeah. 50 grand or something like that.
More than 50 grand a month, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. Then, this one's a big one. The key to all of this is to start first, like just do it and then iterate over time. Because people get stuck trying to find the perfect idea.
Yes.
Like they're just sitting at the starting line and they're like doing, insane calculus, trying to figure out like, I need the perfect thing before I do anything.
Yep.
It never happens.
Yep.
Never.
Yep.
And instead you'll just like overwhelm yourself and freak out and quit, right?
Yeah.
So what you need to understand is the best group ideas came from iterating through like 5 wrong ideas.
Yes, you can't get it perfect straight away. Just
Yeah.
start and make it less bad over time. Even the Skool community, Skool is now, how many iterations has it been through to get to where it is now? Every community changes over time and gets better over time. You can't make it perfect from the beginning.
Yep. And so really the key is to start and then learn by doing. Don't like learn everything you possibly need to know and then start.
Yeah. I think the analogy is like to build a successful community, there's 100 steps. And most people are trying to figure out what's step 45? What do I do? How am I going to get my retention to be good? How am I going to keep my churn low? But you don't need to figure out the whole process before you start. Just take the first step, then the second step's obvious. You take that step and go about it that way.
Yeah. I remember hearing when I was like a while ago, an analogy that made sense to me. It was like, when you're driving a car at night, the headlights only illuminate so much road in front of you.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to get to your destination, right? You don't need the whole path perfectly like illuminated.
Value.
Yeah. And then how to pick when you have more than 2 ideas. So, sometimes at the Skool games, someone comes up to me, usually a young person, and says, "Hey man, what do you think I should do? I could do this, I could do this, I could do this." And I always just say to them, "What do you want to do?" And they're like, "What?" They're like, "That doesn't matter." And I'm like, "No, that does matter." And they're like, "No, man, like this other thing, I should do this other thing." And I'm like, "Well, if you think you should do this other thing so badly, why are you asking me?"
Because they know deep down.
It's quite an interesting experience. It's quite fun. And then they stop usually when I say like, "Why are you asking me?" And they're like, but this. And I'm like, "What do you really want to do?" And then often I think people confuse what they really want to do with what they think might work.
Yes.
So they tell me what they think might work and they rationalize it based on, this or this or this. But I can sense there's something.
Yeah.
I can sense this unease.
Yeah.
And so I often say, like, if you were to just listen to your heart, like, what does that tell you to do? And they're often like, "Oh, do this." And there's like this sigh of relief. And then I'm like, "Well, why don't you just do that?" And then they're often like, "Oh, but. And I'm like, "All right, man, fuck this."
I think a huge distortion is people think that what they want to do, they can't make money from. And that's the pull. They're like, "Well, I want to make money, but I also want to do what they're passionate about." But I think when you go through Discovery and you go through the Skool games, you realize that you can make money with any niche.
Yeah.
If you just bring people together, money can be generated from that, no matter what the niche is.
It might start a little slower than just doing the thing that someone might pay you instantly for.
Yep.
But it will make you so much more money longer term.
Yep.
Because you actually love it. So it will be unique and it will compound over time and you'll stick to it over the long term.
Yeah.
And then honestly, if you're still torn and you're like, okay, there's these 2 ideas or maybe there's these 4 ideas and I can't decide what one.
Yep.
I want to introduce you to a tool that I use all the time,
The
actually.
infamous.
And Kirby can confirm I use this almost every day for making decisions. If we're stuck on a choice and we just need to make a choice, right? And it looks like they're both equal.
Yep.
Well, then the biggest waste of time is to just keep like wasting energy and time over it, right? You just need to decide. So I use this wheel. It's called pickawheel.com, right? Yes or no wheel.
Not sponsored.
And all you need to do is just click it and it will spin and it will tell you what you should do.
Yeah, this is good.
Ooh, I didn't ask it a question, so I don't know what this means. And then there's even there's a version of this where you can like have more than 2 options, but I try to just keep it to yes or no.
Yeah. I think if there's a decision and it's really difficult to decide which one you should go with, it's probably because neither decision is obviously better than the other one. If one of the decisions was way better than the other one, you wouldn't be struggling to make the decision. So this is useful because if the decisions are both roughly equally as good, then there's no point spending hours trying to figure out which one to do. Just spin the wheel.
I think the real beauty of it is if this gives you the wrong option, you find out that it's wrong and choose the right one faster than you would have if you were still just sitting there trying to find the right one.
Yeah, because you feel it. You're like, oh no, I didn't want it to say that.
Because sometimes the only way to find out what the right thing is to do it. So the sooner you do it, the faster you get the real answer, right? But if you're still paralyzed there wondering what thing you should do, then you'll often move faster if you just use this yes or no wheel.
Yep.
Yeah. Use it all the time, honestly. And a funny story is I learned about this from a billionaire dude. He said he flipped a coin though. And he was like, when it's a decision like this, you don't waste effort on it. You just flip it.
Nice.
And then I learned that Magnus Carlsen, like the best chess player in the world, uses this to choose his opening move for a chess game.
That's so crazy.
Yes, someone asked him in a podcast, like, how do you choose your opening?
Yeah.
He says, it's random. And he goes, what? You just choose? And he goes, no, I've got an app on my phone. It's truly random.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because he has a set of good openers. And the most important thing is his opponent's probably trying to guess which one he's going to open with.
Yeah,
so if it's truly random. But there's some real intelligence to using this wheel, I'm telling you. And yeah, that is really it for this module on finding your group topic. So figure out what you're interested in, scratch your own itch, start, then iterate, listen to your heart.
And spin the wheel.
Yes, definitely spin the wheel.
See you later. Bye.